Blimey, we're off, Folly.
So, yeah, do you want to
Shall I mute?
Yeah. Lovely. And I will mute Michelle. That's it. And shall I do you, John? Fabulous. Good. Oh, nice to see you this morning. It's a good morning to be inside doing yoga, isn't it? Nothing better than doing yoga when it's all cool and rainy outside. I love it. So yeah, let's have a good lie down and a stretch out. Taking your time. So it is useful to have a lovely stretch once you get there. Oh, maybe a yawn, a lengthening of the spine, pointing the toes away. And as you're doing that, just tuning into the best posture for you to lie in this morning. So it might be with the legs outstretched, or you might need to bend the knees first of all, tucking the tail under. And really looking after the neck and seeing if you need to place your head on a cushion or a block or something, blanket maybe. Finding the position for your shoulders away from the ears. It makes such a difference if you lift up one shoulder and move it down and then the other. And then allowing the hands, the palms, to turn up towards the ceiling or resting on their sides. Having a sense of an openness across the front of the body. So that you can feel the movement here with the breath. Paying attention to the hips, the position of the legs, and separating the feet as wide as you can and still remaining comfortable, allowing the feet to flop out to the sides. And as the feet flop, then you can feel a little pull, maybe a little stretching in the lower back, which is okay as long as it's comfortable and not causing pain, unease. Feeling the weight of your body. Being supported by the ground, by the earth, and allowing that sense of surrender, of surrendering to the body, to the earth. And as you let go of the holding in the physical body, just notice if there's an opportunity to let go of anything you might be holding in the emotional realm or in the thoughts. Even if you can just let go, soften an attachment to it for this time when you're practicing, that's helpful. You're anchoring your awareness in the body, the heart and mind, as it is in this moment. Allowing your awareness to just wash through. So just coming up and back through the body. and the other layers, the other realms of our experiences, the more subtle veils, if you like. Talk about veils in yoga, different layers. And although the body is in stillness, noticing where there is still some movement. The movement of the body with the breath. Also, perhaps there are some pulsing sensations. Maybe in the feet. The groin area. The chest, the heart. Perhaps in the neck. If your lips are softly together, you might feel a light pulse here. Down the arms, the wrists. Might also be some internal movement in your digestive system. Digesting your breakfast or a cup of tea, coffee. Although we're in stillness, in the gross body, there's subtle movements happening all the time. Attuning ourselves to these can really help us to tune into what's happening for us in any moment, not just during our practice. And you might start to feel the movement of energy within the body. Often places that are warm, have quite a good energetic flow. So noticing any areas that feel particularly warm in any parts of the body. Maybe feeling into areas that are cool. Let's see if this is due to lack of flow of energy or maybe something else. Beginning to draw the prana into the body, deepening the breath a little more. And when you're ready, softly bending the knees and placing your feet hip distance apart. Just allowing the back, the spine to find the floor. So you might need to just tip the pelvis a little bit to enable that connection a little bit more fully. And keeping the feet on the floor, we're going to just very gently rock from side to side. Just sensing into the lower back. Keeping the neck and shoulders nice and soft. If you've got your head on a block or a cushion, you might want to take that away now. And then keeping the feet firmly planted on the floor, let's just go round in some circles. So just gently does it, warming up the lower back a little, bringing some attention here. And then back the other way. Easing round. Good. And then having a wriggle of the fingers and the toes and stretching the arms up, interlacing the fingers, palms up towards the ceiling, and then take the arms behind you. And then we're just going to ease from side to side. So with the hands up above the head, the palms facing away from you, just bending through the elbows and taking the hands over to the right and then the left. And as you do that, starting to incorporate the legs into this. So you're going to just press down as you're going over to the right, just pressing down into one foot more than the other, and then over to the left. So you can start to feel that you're stretching into the waist area, opening into the shoulders. The neck is nice and soft. And take a breath in and breathing out, bring the knees to the chest, holding onto the knees, drawing them down. You might want to give them a hug or just the hands on the knees. Feeling the belly rise with the in-breath, and then as you breathe out, drawing the knees down. And then we're going to place the right foot back down on the floor. Take the hands around the back of the left leg, holding the fingers they're interlaced, but they're not rigid, they're quite soft. Extend the left leg away, push through the heel, bring the toes towards you. So you'll be keeping the knee soft and bent, I should think, at this point. Haven't lengthened through the hamstrings. So you don't want to stop the hamstrings lengthening by holding on too tight. But take some breaths in as you breathe out. See if you can just press the heel a little bit more. Extend through the back of the leg. And point and flex that foot, the left side. Might be if you have a strap to hand that you put it over the foot. If it's hard to lengthen up through the leg, I'm just going to get my strap and demonstrate. It's always good to have a strap to hand. So if you want to, you might want to take the strap around the foot, and that helps to open up into the back of the knee. But if not, just holding your leg. And then we're going to take that leg out to the side, straight, and then across the center. So just feeling into the hip, taking it left and right. The right foot planted into the floor. Just looking after your hip, not doing it too much. If you've got a strap, then you might be able to take it a little bit further. But noticing how your core becomes engaged as you do this. then bringing it back to center. We're going to work on the core a little bit more. So drawing in through the belly button, down to the base of the spine, hands around the back of the leg. Again, take a breath in, breathing out, elbows come out to the side. You draw your leg towards you, keeping it as straight as possible. The head comes up towards the knee and then slowly back down. Breathing in, breathing out, lifting. So every time you come up, just see if you can come up a little bit higher. Use your breath. Doing that about 4 times, and then bring that left foot as high up the right leg as possible, pressing the left knee away. Feeling a stretch through the left hip flexor as you do that. So you might want to just hold onto the left foot with your right hand and then press away the knee with your left. And then let's go into half lotus. Breathing in, breathing out. Take the hands around the back of the knee. You might need to lift your head up to find your knee and then put your head back down on the floor. So you'll either have your left hand going over the foot, or you might have it going through the left leg if there's a gap there. And as you breathe out, see if you can release a little bit more into that hip. So shoulders are nice and soft. Chin is tucked in. And then gently place both feet nice and easy back down on the mat. Have a little pause. If you want to, you can, in this pause, you can go and get yourself a strap if there's one close to hand. And then we're going to take the attention to the right leg and just bringing your knee to the chest and then extending that right leg away. Hands around the back of the leg, the back of the knee, and extending through the heel up to the ceiling. Just sort of waking up your hamstrings, allowing them to stretch. And then point and flex. And then holding it there. Strap around the ball of the foot if you can, if you've got it. Extending through the back of the leg. Now we're going to just connect with the core and allow that foot to come out to the side and then across the center. So you might find that this hip mobilizes in a very different way to the other. Taking your time to explore that. Just notice what that feels like in the core as you control the move through the center of the body. And then bringing it back up, both hands around the back of the leg again, and then we're going to just really draw in through the pelvic floor, the belly button to the base of the spine. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, bring the leg to your head to the leg. If this is too much on your neck, you can place your hand around the back of the head to control it and to take the pressure off the neck. But really, most of this should be coming from the core as you come up and back, keeping the leg as straight as you possibly can. Use your breath to lift and lower. Lovely. And then when you've done that 4 times, just bringing that right foot as high up the left leg as possible and holding onto the foot with your left hand, pressing away the knee with your right. And you'll feel a real stretch there, probably, in your hip flexor, which if you do a lot of sitting at computers or whatever, they tend to get a bit shorter, so it's good to open them out. And then we're going to go into half lotus. So as I say, you might need to lift your head up, get your hands around the back of the knee. Again, if this is hard for you, you can get a strap. So it is always good to come to a yoga class with a strap. Breathing in and breathing out to see if you can release into the hip. Draw the knee down. Just allowing the hip to release. And then gently ease yourself out of it. Place the feet back down on the floor. Perhaps your hands on the belly. Close the eyes and sense into how your hips are feeling. So we're going to do some work in warming up the hips a little more and helping them to become a bit stronger. Sometimes we have hip pain, not because they need opening, but because they need strengthening. So we're going to go over onto the side, both knees bent. And come up onto your elbow, so you're resting your head on your hand. If that's not possible for you, of course you can just lengthen the arm away. So just making sure your neck is as comfortable as possible. And bringing the knees together, the feet as close to your bottom as you possibly can. And we're going to do clam. So we're keeping the feet together as we lift and lower the top leg. So you can place your hand in front of you, just connected to the floor to give you some balance. But if this move feels really easy, you can put your left hand on top of the left leg if you're on that side, and put a little pressure down, either the weight of the hand or just a little bit of resistance, so that you can start to feel that hip working more strongly. Keep your core nice and tight, nice and strong. Lifting and lowering. You can really put some pressure down through there if you want to, just adjusting it depending on how strong your hips are. So you should really be starting to feel it by now. I am anyway. And then make this your last one, and then draw that knee up. Oh. It's releasing into the hip. Good. We're going to change sides, so you might just want to roll over or come to the other end of your mat. And do take care on this side, your hip might be quite different. So just bringing the feet up as close to your bottom as feels comfortable for you. Hand in front to start with, and then lift and lower. The feet together. And then placing the hands on the leg if you'd like to add a little bit more weight or a bit more resistance. You might want to really press down. Just making that hip work a little bit harder. Well done. And then maybe give it a little bit of a massage and draw that knee in towards you. Stretch it out again. Just waking your hips up. And then we're going to ease ourselves round into cat. Bringing your knees underneath your hips. I'm just going to take my socks off as well. Knees underneath your hips and your wrists underneath your shoulders. Finding that lovely square position. Separating the fingers, maybe coming back on the heels of your hands. Really pressing the palms down onto the floor, straightening through your fingers and your thumbs. Looking down at the floor. Tone in your core. Take a breath in and breathing out, rounding the back, drawing the pelvic floor. Chin comes down and then softening down through the spine and lifting the head when you're ready. Bringing a lovely feeling of flow, movement through the shoulders, the elbows. It's like a wave in and out, seashore. Rolling the shoulders back as you bring your head up and your chest through, and then rounding the shoulders as you arch your back up to the ceiling. And then coming back into neutral. And we're going to take your knee, your right knee out to the side. Flex the foot and just circle the knee around a few times in one direction. And then back the other way. And then extend that leg out, pushing the heel, drawing in through the core, just bringing the leg in line with the spine. And then we're going to lift and then bring it back to that aligned neutral spot. So lift and down. Good, nice. So doing that quite slowly, keeping the core really connected, pressing down through the hands so that you're not hunching into the shoulders. Nice, and then slowly down, perhaps a little stretch out, release into the wrists. Just going to move over a bit, otherwise I won't have space. And then we're going to come up and do the same on the other side, if that's possible for you. So bring your left knee up, out to the side, and circle. Just keeping connected with the core. Just taking the knee up as high as you feel you comfortably can, out to the side. And then back the other way. Just really feeling into the mobilization of the hip joint. And then extending the leg away, pushing the heel, maybe having a look at the monitor screen just to see where your leg is, and then lift and lower to that starting point. Just checking in with what your shoulders are doing. If you kind of scrunch them up, pressing down into the palms of the hand, and feel a lengthening and opening through the shoulders as you're working the hip. And then release that and ease yourself back. Just letting go in the wrists. And then coming back up into that. And we're going to go from here into lizard. So lizard is where you take a breath in and breathe out and bring your right foot on the outside towards the corner, top corner of the mat. Both hands are still in the center, and you start to sink the pelvis down. So really stretching into that front hip flexor, opening out into the hip. Good. Keep looking down at the ground and allowing the pelvis to really feel heavy. So with every out breath, see if you can just release into that pelvis a little bit more deeply. Ooh, this is a good stretch. Nice. And then gently ease that foot back. And the hands back into pat. Take a breath in, breathing out. Bring the left foot forward. So the back foot sort of just still flat on the floor. You're not tucking the toes under or anything. And then see if you can bring the knee over the left ankle. You might walk the hands forwards a little bit and then dropping the pelvis down. So as you start to drop the pelvis down, you'll feel that stretch in the front of your right leg. And see if you can just let go if you're holding on with your right leg and anywhere else, and just see if the weight of the pelvis can just open the hip out a little bit further. And then very gently ease yourself out of that and come down into extended child once more. Maybe separating the knees a little if that's more comfortable for you. And then we're going to go into downward facing dog. So tucking your toes under, take a breath in, breathing out, softening through the knees, nice long back, go in the head, the neck. And just having a little walk of the dog. So one heel down, the other, just feeling into your hamstrings once more. We lengthen them at the beginning. So feeling into that and seeing if you can take a little time on each side to stretch and open, the heel coming down towards or onto the floor, and then the other side. Connected in through your core. And then just see if you can straighten the legs. Keep the back nice and straight. Give the head a little bit of a wobble if you feel there's any tension coming into the neck. Drawing in through your belly button to the base of the spine. And breathe as you just gently stretch into down dog. So every time you breathe out, there's a sense of lengthening, maybe opening in the back of the knees. Aware of the sensations in the arms and the shoulders. Just holding that posture if you can. If you need to come out of it, then do have a little rest and then pop back up into it. It's so strengthening on the arms and the shoulders. And gently, I'm going to walk up towards the hands. The hands walk towards us. Oh, and just have a hanging forward bend. A roll of the shoulders. And then take a breath in, breathing out, both arms come out to the side. Come up to standing, interlace the fingers, turn the palms up to the ceiling, and have a good long stretch. Well done. Nice. And then just soften through the elbows and take that from side to side. Let go in the neck. Sometimes we hold on to tension in the neck as we go into down dog. So feeling into that, and just let the head ease from one side to the other. And then the arms float down to the sides and standing in mountain. So you might want to just roll the shoulders back and down, feeling the lengthening up through the spine. Closing the eyes, feeling the ground beneath you. And as you breathe in, drawing the energy up from the ground to your solar plexus. And as you breathe out, just drawing the energy down from the space, the universe, down to your solar plexus. So just having a sense of that, breathing in and breathing out. And then if your eyes are closed, opening them, I'm just going to pay attention to the right shoulder. So very gently rolling that right shoulder, the arm coming up, back and down. And then starting to lengthen the arm. It's like a windmill. Just releasing into the shoulder and starting to bring in a little bit of a twist. Maybe twisting forwards and twisting around. So as you bring your arm forward, you're twisting to the left. And as you're bringing your arm back, you're twisting to the right. So let that arm hang. Maybe look at yourself in the screen and see where one shoulder feels different or looks different to the other. And then bringing that into the left side. So lifting the elbow up and down, and then starting to extend that arm away, just in your own time. Sitting over in front of you and coming back. Just feeling that lovely rotation of the shoulder, maybe the noises coming from there. And then back, center. Have a little shake of everything. So we're going to go through the Virabhadrasana series, the warrior postures. So we are going to make sure we have plenty of space for this. Just readjust my mat. It's going to walk about. So coming to the end of the mat. Lovely. So standing nice and tall, feet are hip distance apart. And having a real sense of the heart center coming up towards the sky. Feeling the breath, aware of the ground. So the warrior series is a very grounding, very opening, connecting, empowering postures, hence the word warrior. So having a real sense of that, bringing an attitude of power to the practice, if that's available to you today. So we're going to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, bring the left foot one stride forwards. The right foot will just go out a little bit. And you keep your pelvis forwards and bending through the left knee. Take your hands into prayer. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, lifting the arms up. You might want to place your hands in a mudra. So interlace the three fingers, the index fingers are together, and you cross your thumbs over, if that's comfortable for you. Otherwise, you can just keep your hands separate, palms facing each other. So that as you breathe out, there's a feeling of sinking down into this, rather like when we were doing lizard. So you're sinking down into this posture, straightening that back leg. And then we go through a little sequence. If you feel like you can do this, just take the head up to the hands, and that can sometimes make you feel a little bit wobbly. So if that's not right for you today, then keep looking forwards. And if that's sore on the neck, please don't do it. Take a breath in, breathing out. Bring those arms back. So going into a stronger back bend, but notice what happens with your knee. Is you go into back bend, often the knee comes back. So we want to keep that knee directly above the ankle, if that's possible. And then release the right hand, take it to the right leg, take a breath in, breathing out, bring that left hand back as far as you possibly can, looking up at the hand. Lovely breaths. Feel the ground, that left knee above the left ankle if that's possible. A nice strong warrior, single warrior. And then bringing your right hand back as we go into mudra, looking forwards once more, back into original warrior one. Drawing in through the core as we're going to transition into warrior two. So take a breath in, breathing out, the left hand comes forwards, the right hand comes back. We turn the pelvis at the same time as just turning that back foot a little, so that the pelvis is now coming forwards, but the leg is exactly where it was before. And then turn to look down the left arm. So there's that real opening of the hip, the inner thigh. If you feel like you can go into more of a stride or more, a wider angle, just wriggle your feet away from each other a little. And the shoulders are sort of rolled back down either side of your spine. The core is nice and strong. Holding warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Nice deep breaths. Every time you breathe out, see if you can just ease down a little more. If this is too much on your hands, you can bring your arms down, bring your hands into prayer, whatever you want to be. And then we're gently going to bring the hands together. We're going to turn back around to look where we were before in warrior one. Take a breath in, breathing out, easing forward. The right leg comes up. Just aligning it with your body if you can. Feeling into that wobble. Need to hold on to something, then do. Just drawing in through the core. Virabhadrasana 3. Gently and slowly, if you haven't done so already, coming on out of it. Well done, everybody. Coming back. Oh, it's a mountain. Let's close your eyes. Feeling into the body. Just noticing if one side feels longer, shorter, twisted. Sensing the legs, the hips, the spine, the shoulders, the breath. And easing out of that, and we're going to go to the other end of the mat and do the same again on the other side. So if you know that you needed some support when you went into Vira 3, then just finding that space for you to do that. But first we need to do 1 and 2. So just taking your feet to hip distance apart. Finding the ground first, just steadying yourself. Now you know what's coming. Sometimes there's an anticipation. So being in the moment, just being with how you are right now. Taking a breath in and breathing out, stepping forward the right foot, and the left foot just comes out a little bit. Bringing your hands into prayer. The back leg is as straight as you possibly can, the foot slightly out, and then the right knee is above the right ankle. So hands in prayer to start with, and then as I say, you might want to bring them into that mudra with the 3 fingers interlaced, the index finger pointing up to the ceiling, and then crossing the thumbs, breathing in, breathing out, lifting up out of the waist. So there's a lovely sense of creating spaciousness here underneath the rib cage. You're pointing forwards with the body. Core is strong. So if you have a tendency, like I do, to stick your tail out, draw the belly button down to the base of the spine, that helps to lengthen through the spine, and the tailbone then goes down. Keep the toes spread. And then breath in and breathing out, looking up at the hands. Depending on how your neck is feeling. Lovely long deep breath in and out. And then gently ease the hands back, going into a stronger back bend. And as you do that, just noticing if you lose the dynamics of the right leg over the ankle. If you do, then bend through. That's it, Linda. Nice one. So feeling the heart center really opening up to the space, the universe. And then breathing in and breathing out. Let the left hand come back to the left leg, the right hand comes back. Looking up at the right hand. Lovely breaths. Core is strong. And then both hands together, back into warrior 1. And then we're going to turn that back foot as we take a breath in, breathing out, release the hands. Keep looking down the right outstretched arm, and the pelvis comes back to the center. So you're turning your body, but you're keeping your head looking down the arms. So you start to feel a really good stretch in that inner thigh. If you want to make that stance a little bit wider, do so. Rolling the shoulders back and down. Feeling the earth. Pelvic floor is tight. Tummy buttons to the base of the spine. Knee above the ankle. Keeping the pelvis forwards. Deep, nourishing breaths. Noticing how it feels on the arms, the shoulders. Strengthening through the shoulders. And then very slowly bringing your hands into prayer. We're going to turn the body once more to look to the right. So we're just re-establishing that pelvis going to the right. And take a breath in, bending through the right knee. Just let that left foot come up off the floor if there's a balloon tied to the ankle. And just let the body come forward, forward, so it's aligning with the floor as much as you possibly can. Looking good, Louise? Ah, lovely, Linda D. Breathing. And gently and slowly ease yourself out. Well done, Linda. You did so much better on that side than the other. It's funny how we can do that. So ease yourself out. Oh, coming back into mountain once more. That feels different. But noticing how the body feels now. What's here for you? A sense of having stretched and contracted, strengthened, a lengthening, an openness maybe. Hopefully you feel fairly even both sides. It might not be your experience, but just noticing that too. And then with the hands on the thighs, softening through the knees, and we're slowly going to just allow the hands to slide down. It's releasing in the neck, shoulders. Just let the hands come towards the floor, onto the floor. If you still want to keep folding down, you can hold onto the elbows. And then taking the fingertips underneath the toes, as you breathe in, straightening through the legs, as you breathe out, drawing your body down towards the knees a little bit. So doing that a few times, breathing in, straightening, breathing out, folding down. And then with the fingers underneath the toes of the left foot, take a breath in, breathing out, let that right hand float up, turn the head to look at it, going into a thoracic twist. And then let that float down and change in your own time to the other side. And then gently and slowly down. And from here, coming down into kneeling. And then I'm going to just invite you to go against the wall and bring your feet up the wall. So come sideways to the skirting board or whatever, and then slowly let your feet come up the wall. And just have a pause in that place when you can. So your bottom is right up against either the skirting board or the wall. Arms down either side. Just let the palms come up to the ceiling. And we're going to take a little time to just massage the back. So placing your feet on the wall, arms down by your sides and the palms down onto the floor. And we're going to just lift and lower. So pressing against the wall. You might want to move the feet a little. If you feel you need a little bit more stability, sometimes Placing your hands on your knees can be helpful. Just experimenting with that. And every time you come up, you might want to come a little bit higher. So just looking after your back and not overexerting, but having a real sense of massaging the spine, taking your time, so there's no rush. So coming up onto your shoulders. And then if you want to, you can start to just have a play around with things. So the hands into the small of the back, maybe lift one leg or both legs up. So always sort of modifying according to how your back is feeling, your spine, your neck and shoulders. And then you might want to lift both legs up and take them behind you a little bit. Always taking care of yourself and protecting your back. So your hands can creep higher and higher up your back to help lever you over. Nice, Karen. But if this isn't comfortable for you, just keeping your legs up the wall or massaging into the back. There's so many modifications and options here. Just making sure you keep breathing. You might want to take one leg behind you or both into full plow. You may wish to separate the feet. So you go into sort of a wide angle plow. The toes down to the floor. Nice. Good. Lovely control. And whenever you're ready, you can just let the legs come back to the wall. So you can keep going with that as long as you wish. Or just come into a resting posture with the legs up the wall, which is great if you've got any swelling of the ankles or the feet or legs. Need to just support your circulation. So yeah, when you've finished moving the legs, just bringing your legs into stillness up the wall. And noticing how that feels for you to be in that position. And either with your hands on your belly, or you might want to take your hands up above your head. Just opening into the shoulders. It's quite nice to rest in that position. Just checking in with how the body's feeling. So it may be that you want to stay there for your relaxation, or you might want to come down and find a different posture. So Shavasana or fly or beetle, inverted fish, lying on your side or prone, or anything else that might or might not have a name. making sure you're warm and comfortable. And I'm just going to share with you a poem that I read on retreat on Saturday. I felt was just quite a lovely way to see things. So it's called The Teacher. I am a tree which stands by the path you tread. If you can learn something from me, stay a while. I cannot take you my way because of my roots. They are in my own piece of ground, and my branches reach up to my own personal sky. If you wish to lean against me for a time and warm in the sun, which filters through my leaves, then share my stillness and become one with me. But do not stay too long, or part of yourself will become lost within me. Do not take one of my branches to use as a prop, for even I am unaware of which are strong or weak. In looking at me, reflect on what you didn't know and make it your own truth. I will not impede the path you tread, but I hope I have helped to make your journey worthwhile. So as you lie in stillness, feeling into the body, heart and mind, just noticing what's here for you now. How you're feeling after moving, stretching, strengthening. And in particular, inviting you to sense into the flow of energy in the body. How's this shifted and changed? What's here for you now? Aware of the ground supporting you. Enjoying this sense of stillness and quiet after movement. savoring, appreciating. And starting to deepen the breath if you have an intention to move, or of course you can stay there if you wish to. Having a stretch, a move. And easing yourself slowly over onto your side and then up to sitting when you're ready. Having a breath in, stretch up, and breathing out. Namaste. Thank you so much.